So, in the past, I've done Naruto beat all of the Hokage, and you guys really liked that video. It's the most popular on my channel, pretty much. So I thought, why not do Sasuke versus all the Hokage as well? And I know what you're thinking, won't the answer just be the same? Well, we do have a little bit of a surprise. We're also going to be going over nerfed Sasuke, the current nerfed Sasuke, as well versus the Hokage, and see how he stacks up. But we're also just going to be explaining and, kind of giving a little update to what we think about that current pecking order. Also, it is a very special occasion. This video is gladly in support of Team C's. Team C's was made by Mr. Beast in hopes of following up on his Team Trees charity. So instead of planting trees, remove trash from the ocean. I'm sure you've seen many sad videos of numerous animals and aquatic life in the ocean being tortured by numerous types of garbage and pollution from people every single day, and the infamous garbage islands that are forming in the sea. Well, Team C's hopes to help solve this by allowing us to work almost directly with the Ocean Conservancy and the ocean cleanup nonprofit groups. And with your help, we can slowly help clean the oceans and honestly help clean our entire world. For every dollar donated, 1 pound of trash will be removed from the ocean. Let's try our best to help Team C's reach 30 million pounds of garbage removed from the ocean and help reduce the toxicity of human impact on our planet. I and everyone else sincerely do appreciate every donation for this. Thank you, everyone, and I do hope you enjoyed the video. The links for this will be down below. But with me today, I do have my good friend Swagkage, and we thought we'd do a little collab on this. We're also going to be following up with this video. At the end, you should go over to his channel, and he's going to be talking about how strong is Naruto now that he's nerfed. A lot of people have been asking about that, but for this video, we're going to be focusing on Sasuke and his nerfs. So why don't you just start us off then?
We'll split this up into multiple rounds. And round one is going to be the same as the Naruto versus the Hokage video, where it's like Sasuke at full power, the strongest that we know him as, versus all the different Hokage. And you can include Naruto here if you want. I guess we could do like a sub round, like round 1A without Naruto and round 1B with Naruto.
Right.
And then like the second round would be like what? Full power Sasuke versus all the Hokage, including nerfed Naruto. And then like round 3 would be like nerfed Sasuke versus all the Hokage and nerfed Naruto.
Yeah.
I think that makes sense.
Okay.
So the first round is like, for some reason,
this is
and it
not
depends
including
on who
Naruto,
you
right?
ask.
Not including Naruto.
Yeah, the first round is not including Naruto, okay. But for some reason, and this varies depending on who you ask, but this is still fairly contentious. Like but Sasuke, like, it's not close. All the Hokage just get shredded, right?
Right.
Because Hashirama, as strong as he is, isn't doing anything. Naruto and Sasuke like massively surpassed the pre-God Tree absorbed Six Paths Madara, and he was way stronger than the Madara that fought and almost killed Hashirama. Tobirama is just blatantly weaker than Hashirama. Hiruzen is like, I mean, for the purposes of this, like, we don't really have to precisely scale Hiruzen. Old man Hiruzen is like, based on feats, like weaker than Tobirama in the war. But even if you wanted to use prime Hiruzen, even if you wank him, just like at best barely above Hashirama or whatever. Minato's just not as fast as Sasuke. Tsunade.
Yeah.
I don't think we have to go into Tsunade.
We can.
Yeah, it's just what. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
I'll say we can even just go into what all of them have done and just compare it to Madara.
Yeah.
So, you take Hashirama. Hashirama, at his peak, he was sort of fighting Madara to the death. Some people think Madara was actually stronger than Hashirama, but due to Hashirama's regeneration and Madara's high chakra consumption, that Hashirama was eventually able to win, as there's many panels in the original Naruto that show Hashirama takes massive battle damage, such as when he's talking to the Nine Tails, and then at the end of the battle, when he kills Madara, all those cuts and bleeding is gone, implying Hashirama was messed up many times by Madara, whereas Madara, just kind of like Sasuke, couldn't regenerate, so he never got messed up like that from what we know. the way he looks at the end is all the damage he ever took. So Hashirama and Madara are pretty in the same tier, and we know Tobirama is just blatantly weaker than Hashirama, stated over and over and over again. In fact, Tobirama is borderline featless outside of fighting old Hiruzen as an Edo, and his tandem paper bombs he can use as Edo Tensei, but we're assuming he's alive, so he doesn't have his tandem paper bombs, so that doesn't even apply. Minato was able to, chop through, say, Raikage A, say, really highball. Say he's like Killer B, full 8 tails level. He can chop through him with the kunai, and he has the Rasengan. He also has like a 9 tails level ceiling jutsu. He doesn't really compare to Madara either, and I actually made a Minato versus Madara video you guys can check out in the description as well. Hiruzen in his prime, even if you wank him really badly, if you take the whole he's the strongest ever, he would just be arbitrarily stronger than Hashirama, and we have no idea.
He's not like 6 paths level is the thing. Like, there's nothing to imply that. And I don't think we have to explain this for anybody. It's mostly going to be like the edgy viewers who are like, oh, well, when he looks at Jubito for the first time, he describes Jubito as like this totally like alien thing to him. Mm-hmm. Like, he's never encountered anything that can use this kind of like jutsu before, and the power's on a completely different level. And I'm pretty sure that was like pre-stabilization too. Yes. So it was like baby mode Jubito. So to say that, and like we can like draw like a quick like tower of escalation, I guess, like a little staircase here to walk you through how many levels apart this Jubito is from Madara. So you have like that Jubito, and then you have the stabilized 10 tails Obito. And then arguably, if you take the volume statements into account, this is a really annoying argument to have, but arguably Sage Mode Madara is above that. With like the back of the volume statement, it calls him the strongest enemy of all time. But if you want to skip that, then above Obito, you have the first form 10 tails Madara with like the 1 Rinnegan, and then above that you have God Tree Madara, and then above that you have double Rinnegan God Tree Madara, which is who Naruto and Sasuke fought. Right. So it's like, you see how many levels like removed we are from this character, that like we're not comparing like old man Hiruzen to him. Hiruzen was just like, whoa, I've like never seen anything like this before. So even at his like peak, at his prime, Hiruzen would have been below like baby mode Jubito, who's not even close to being as strong as Sasuke. And that should also tell you everything you need to know if you're still a little bit skeptical about whether or not Hashirama would be able to fight him, like just how far apart Sasuke and Naruto are from people like that.
Right. So the other thing with Hiruzen is there is a statement that he's the strongest ever of the Sarutobi clan back around when Boruto first began, give or take, which would basically mean he's stronger than Boruto Konohamaru. But that Konohamaru is pretty featless. All we know about him is that Kashin Koji can kind of just no-diff him. He calls him impressive, but he's just like, yeah, I can kind of handle you, no problem. Kind of almost off-screens him. So it's not really that impressive. With Tsunade, she's more of a rival for Raikage A, which is absolutely nothing to even blind Madara, let alone 6 paths Madara or Hashirama. Now, Hokage Kakashi is a little bit weird. So the thing about Hokage...
this is actually funny, because a lot of people write him off like he's like the weakest Hokage. But actually, according to the novel, he's like way stronger than he was in the war, which was like insane.
So in the novels, Kakashi's actually stronger than ever he's stronger than when he fought Madara and Obito. Not DMS per se, but he is stronger. It's implied his Sharingan, since he doesn't have it, it doesn't drain his chakra anymore. So he has more access to reserves of power. He learns the Purple Lightning Shinden, which is his strongest jutsu at the moment that we know of. As well as the fact that maybe you could even use a rationalist argument, the current Kage are able to fight things like Kinshiki and Momoshiki, so, maybe, Kakashi, if he power cliffed with them, and the Hokage is supposed to be the apex of the world, thematically, that maybe Kakashi, if he was in the realm, maybe he could have thrown hands with Kinshiki and Momoshiki as well, if you really wanted to be charitable. And I think something that might also support that is You have old man, retired Kakashi. He's not actually that old, but he's retired. He's just vacationing. He's not even in the manga at the moment, but
Yeah.
but he actually confronts Kakashi and Koji in the anime, and Koji basically just has to give him the slip. He doesn't just like quickly knock him out or something. So you could make an argument that maybe, you know, Kakashi's still Boruto tier Kage level. But the problem with that is that, as Swag can get into, compared to even base Naruto, that's not that impressive.
Yeah. So it's like the thing, right? That like remember the you know, the little staircase I illustrated earlier. That only takes us up to Fourth War Rinnegan Sasuke.
Yeah.
Not Boruto era Sasuke. And so there are a little bit more steps that we can take here, where we get to like Three-Eyed Madara is above the Madara that they fought, and then Naruto and Sasuke both obviously get stronger throughout the Kaguya fight as they get more accustomed to their powers. So
Yep.
they're above the Naruto and Sasuke that fought Madara. And then there's like the Naruto and Sasuke from the last that fought Toneri. Toneri may or may not be stronger than Madara. That's a different video. But we won't get into that here. But I think everybody can agree that like obviously Naruto and Sasuke are stronger in the last than they were at the end of Shippuden. Mm-hmm. And then obviously they are even stronger in Boruto, and a lot of people still argue about this, but I think it's been widely accepted now at this point that Momoshiki is at least relative to Kaguya. Like, a lot of people think that like Kaguya would body him or something, which I think is a little ridiculous. But, you know, he's described as a threat, or he and Kinshiki are described as a threat greater than Kaguya. And the reason why Momoshiki is relevant here is because, like, base Naruto fights not, like, base 50% Momoshiki, but, like, I think it's fused Momoshiki, but
Yes.
he's only at 50% power, right?
Yeah, Naruto has half power, and
Oh, no, Naruto's at 50%.
Yeah.
That's right. And
Yeah.
he's fighting fused Momoshiki, and we're
Yeah.
not given any indication that Momoshiki is holding back at that moment in time. That's right, I got it backwards.
Right.
And keep in mind, this is in base. This isn't like Sage Mode, KCM1, or anything. Like, base Naruto is fighting him, and it's not like Naruto's getting beaten up or whacked around or anything. Like, Naruto's actually performing pretty well. Like, it seems impressive. If I didn't know who these characters were and I took a look at these pages, I'd be like, oh, okay. So
they're like relative,
like,
or something.
yeah, exactly. And Naruto and Sasuke at full power are clearly like illustrated as like implied to be rivals throughout Boruto. I think that this is pretty much the closest in power they've ever been.
Yeah.
And that hasn't changed. Like, that's very intentional. And so like when Naruto goes into, some people think it's KCM2, some people think it's Six Path Sage Mode.
It's not even relevant, and
That's what I was gonna say. Whatever you want to call it, when he goes full power, he and Sasuke are still relative. And yet, when he was in like base, which is way weaker than his full power mode, and at 50% power at that, he was keeping up with fused Momoshiki. No. Let me admit, obviously, fused Momoshiki was way stronger than that because it did take Naruto and Sasuke fighting him together at full power to actually beat him. But like, the fact that Naruto was able to like do anything, I mean, he put up a better fight than any of the other Kage like put together, right? Like, they weren't really even scratching Momoshiki. Meanwhile, he was like dodging Momoshiki's attacks, actually like damaging him, knocking him back and stuff. So they're way beyond where they were in Shippuden at this point.
I think just an easy indicator. For one, for Toneri, there are some weird guides that imply he might even be stronger than Kaguya, but we won't get into that.
Yeah.
But I think at a very just basic level, even if you think Kaguya beats Momoshiki per se, I think at a very base level, we could all agree, okay, Kaguya knows about Momoshiki and Kinshiki, and she is scared of them still. Now, maybe she thinks that they're gonna jump her, and she's slightly stronger than one, and, you know, it's 2v1, so she's gonna lose. But regardless of that, Naruto is then fighting them put together, these guys that scare Kaguya put together at 50% power, okay?
In base.
In base. And then, you know, at full power, he gives him the hands. And Sasuke is also extremely nerfed because he uses his teleportation jutsu, which we know uses a ton of chakra, especially earlier on in Boruto. So Naruto and Sasuke are both extremely nerfed when they're fighting this guy who would give Kaguya, you know, a sweat on her brow. So even if you think Naruto and Sasuke somehow don't have 6 paths, or maybe you think for some reason they're nerfed, they're still incredibly powerful and still like able to run Kaguya's fade. And it's implied, in Ishiki's realm that he believes that Kaguya's evolution is similar to Momoshiki's level as well, which sort of supports why Kaguya might have been somewhat timid of them, because obviously someone on her level is coming with backup, and they're gonna come run her hands. So
like another thing too that's impressive about that Momoshiki fight is that I think it's either implied or stated, it's been a while since I read the chapters, but that Naruto is holding back significantly so he doesn't blow up the whole village.
Yeah,
because like if he goes all out recklessly, like I mean, like you guys saw their fight in the final valley, like shit was exploding everywhere. Exactly. Dude. So like Naruto can't do that. He has to restrict himself to close quarters combat mostly, really like concentrate to make sure his jutsu don't create massive explosions or go flying off somewhere. Mm-hmm. So, and again, like this guy is bare minimum, at least relative to Kaguya, who is totally like completely out of the reach of any of the first 6 Hokage, with the arguable exception of Kakashi, but like
I don't think there's enough evidence yet to say Kakashi could run hands with used Momoshiki yet. So the best piece of evidence is that Kashin Koji anime only scene, but like if Kakashi was still that strong, why didn't he come help fight Momoshiki, So there is an implication that Kakashi's not in the manga because he has some very secret, big plot device thing going on right now that is going to be revealed. At least that was admitted by Kishimoto and Kodachi and all of them. But at the moment, we just don't have any evidence or know-how, so we can't argue him there. Now, for you Kaguya fans, I know on my channel I've downplayed Kaguya quite a bit, but I am starting to come to terms with that she's kind of Momoshiki-ish level, rather than just being blatantly, she would get fodderized or something. But in Kaguya's benefit as well, something else I think needs to be exaggerated is when Three-Eyed Madara is turning into Kaguya, what happens is all of the energy collected from the infinite Tsukuyomi starts blowing out of the earth. And then Naruto and Sasuke are like, what is this energy? And Naruto says, this energy is even greater than the Ten Tails. Now, a lot of people thought Madara transforming was something that was above the Ten Tails, but no. Naruto's talking about the energy coming out of the ground into Madara. So Kaguya absorbs greater than Ten Tails level energy on top of Three-Eyed Madara, and that's how strong she is. So imagine
like Sasuke describes it as like a completely different level. He didn't even think it was possible for someone like this to exist.
Yeah, and the chakra is so massive that Madara's 10-tail 6-path Senjutsu body explodes because it's so much energy. So imagine if Three-Eyed 6-path 10-tailed Madara got a second 10 tails Jinchuriki amp, and that's Kaguya, right? And so the fact that Momoshiki can scare that girl is insane. There's just, so let's run through even the hacks. Is there any hacks Tobirama can do to that? No. Is there any?
Because like Tobirama has like teleportation, right? And it's like the same thing with Minato. Like that's their big thing is that they can teleport. Well, like so can Sasuke.
Yes.
So it's like who cares?
Right. And Sasuke was also fast enough to catch 6 paths Madara as well. But the other one too is Minato. Could Minato maybe Reaper Death Seal? Well, no, he can't, because from what we can tell, he thinks the 9 tails is such an insane massive power that he can't possibly imagine sealing it into one body, let alone the 10 tails. He might not even be able to Reaper Death Seal the 10 tails, let alone 6 paths adult Sasuke or Momoshiki or Kaguya. Hashirama struggles with base Madara. So, obviously, he's nothing compared to 6 paths. Hiruzen, from what we know, he should have no reason to be able to do anything crazy either. Tsunade is probably the weakest link, funny enough. Because she has, like, basically no... She can heal them, but it doesn't...
That would be the only thing.
Yeah, right? It doesn't really matter. Like, so... And then you have Kakashi, which he's just too unknown. All we know about him is that he's probably Kage level, and which is weaker than Fusion Momoshiki, so... Yeah, so Sasuke does win that first round pretty hardcore. Sasuke could pretty much just Genjutsu all of them, like he did the Bijou, right? Basically. Yeah. So
I think it would actually just be that, right? Like he, just And then they're all in Shibaku Tensei.
Yeah. Or he literally just glances at all of them like the Bijou, and then he just Shibaku Tenseis, and they all float away, basically. So,
we don't even have to get into like the weird stuff, like the Soul Dragon or like whatever, right? Because like you said, it's just like, because I mean, none of them have resistance to that. Like even if you don't even like get into like his sheer like physical dominance, right? Like just how much more chakra he has than them, how much harder he hits than them, how much faster he is than them. None of them have resistance to that kind of genjutsu, except for Sasuke. So
yeah, you remember how the 5 Kage saw Madara's perfect Susanoo, and they're like, what is this power? What do we even do? And they just kind of gave up and died. That's pretty much what would happen if Sasuke ever did that as well. Like, they literally just could never touch him at all. They couldn't even hurt him. So, at best, you might be able to say, well, maybe Hashirama can absorb his chakra, but we have no evidence he could absorb that much chakra, let alone, so, or even do enough damage to Sasuke to even get him to that point. So, yeah, unlikely.
So now, if you throw Naruto into the mix, it just becomes a question, really, of like, could Sasuke beat Naruto?
Yeah.
And we've already said that they're relative, so
yeah, it's just Naruto with the Hokage in the background. So
yeah, they would just like sit over there on it'd sort of be like what Cell expected the Cell games to be, right? Like Goku shows up, fights him, loses, and then it's over.
The only thing
kind of be like that.
The only thing I can imagine is maybe Sasuke might steal their chakra to amp himself, but other than that.
So what I will say about that is it's like weird because it seems like it's like a big ass multiplier. Like it's not a linear increase. Like he doesn't get a 9 tails, 8 tails, 7 tails, etc. stronger. He gets like way stronger. It's like an amp greater than the sum of its parts.
Yeah.
So like maybe if he absorbed all the Kage's chakra, it could be. But like I think the other thing too is you could easily argue that the only reason the Bijou chakra worked like that was because they were originally part of the 10 Tails, and it's even stated that he was like using his Susanoo as a pseudo Ghetto Mazo. So it might not even amp him at all.
Here's another thing we know now that Naruto can do. If it's controller up his butt Naruto, he can Baryon Mode and literally murder
Sasuke gets bodied.
So yeah, I guess the next one is then like fatigued. Well, nerfed Sasuke versus nerfed Naruto. So what do you think about that?
Well, I guess a good question is, do we still think that nerfed Sasuke could beat all of the Hokage? And the answer is yes.
Yeah, I would say so.
Like, he's weaker, and he doesn't have the Rinnegan abilities, but like we said earlier, 50% base Naruto was fighting Fusion Momoshiki. And so Seth and I talked about this specifically earlier. We know that EMS is, like, apparently a bigger amp than Sage Mode.
Yeah, I can go into that, sorry.
Yeah.
So, basically, if you think Naruto and Sasuke are equal in base, and then their respective transformations are equal in level, maybe that's like the whole thematic thing going on, then EMS Sasuke should be still insanely powerful because the EMS is stronger than Sage Mode in the war pretty directly. EMS is able to take a Burning Ash from reanimated Madara, not reanimated, sorry, but alive Madara, whereas, Naruto's like, oh, holy hell, that was hot, and he's like blown away, whereas EMS Sasuke doesn't even flinch, and it's not even with his Susanoo out, it's just his base skin. And then the other thing we know about even one-eyed Mangekyou Sharingan or EMS Sasuke is that since blind Madara could do it, this one-eyed Sasuke can not only use Amaterasu still, he can use Genjutsu still, but he can also use his Susanoo still, probably his perfect Susanoo, with one eye. So now you have perfect Susanoo, one-eyed Sasuke versus, Sage Mode Naruto, no cloak. And it's really, it's really not implied that Sage Mode is, fighting perfect Susanoos. It was kind of implied that Sage Mode was more of a rival to MS or the no-footed Susanoo during the Kage summits rather than the walking ones or the perfect Susanoo, at least throughout the medias, but I'll let you go into
You could maybe argue that Sasuke can't go perfect because Madara could only use like the foot, like leg Susanoo without his eyes. We'll probably know more in the future unless Naruto and Sasuke just die before like we get their powers revealed, and then it's just like endless speculation about this sort of thing. Without Naruto there, I don't think that the result is all that different because Sasuke just like power cliffs them really hard. Because even without his MS or his Rinnegan, he's like relative to base Naruto, who, like we said, was fighting Momoshiki at half power.
Stronger than the Hokage. You know.
Like he would just like blitz them all and like cut them up with his sword.
Can I say something else that supports as well is one-eyed EMS Sasuke was considered a massive threat to 80% Borushiki. So
yeah.
In the manga, it's implied Sasuke's stronger than Borushiki, actually, at 80%. So if you consider a vesseled Otsutsuki or an Otsutsuki revived in a vessel stronger than ever, then this 80% Momoshiki is stronger than he was before. And
yeah,
Sasuke
I think
is
that
stronger, so.
I think it's implied that Borushiki is stronger than Momoshiki.
Yeah.
Than Momoshiki, just because like he was able to just straight up yeet Sasuke in the eye, which Momoshiki was like never able to do anything like that. And granted, you could argue he caught Sasuke off guard or whatever, but like the dude has an EMS and a Rinnegan. So like,
yeah,
I don't know. I feel like he was probably like fine.
Regardless,
in terms of his ability to perceive him.
Regardless, though, Sasuke is very strong still.
Yeah.
The main debate is how strong is Naruto. But I think we can go way more into detail about how strong base Naruto is on Swag's channel. But
yeah,
I think for now, we can just say, you know, round one, if Sasuke was in Naruto's position, as in the first video, he just stomps. If it was Sasuke versus, you know, full power Naruto, he'd just Baryon Mode if he had a controller up his ass.
Yeah.
So he'd just win. And then, you know, third, if Sasuke, even while nerfed, is still stronger than all those Kage, from what we know. And base Naruto Sage Mode is probably weaker than the perfect Susanoo, although it is debatable if he can use the perfect Susanoo, but he should still use like the footed Susanoo like Madara.
Yeah.
In fact, he should be able to use something a little bit stronger than Madara, because Madara was blind. At least Sasuke has one eye.
He didn't even have one eye.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. So Sasuke pretty much wins 2 out of 3 with the Baryon Mode just kind of stopping him in the middle. So hope you guys enjoyed that video. Do look forward to a full breakdown on nerfed Naruto on Swag Channel. We're going to be going more into detail, like can he actually use Sage Mode? People are actually debating if he can use Sage Mode. Some people are debating...
people.
Some people were debating...
789.
Some people were debating... if he's Pain Arc level, you know, maybe Kurama amped his base form and now he's not. We're going to be going over all of that on Swag's channel, so do look forward to that. And thank you very much for coming, Swag. Be sure to support Mr. Beast, which we outlined earlier. And till next time.
Bye.